So I know many of you have found ASMR Money Mentor, and thank you, as you guys know, so much for being here. It's been a little while since I gave you a heartfelt thank you. So thank you so much for being here. I want this channel to be a safe place for you to come back to week after week and recommit yourself to attaining your own personal best, your own financial independence, one step at a time. And as I say frequently, at least I did on my podcast, Broke at 40, almost at the close of every episode, is that I appreciate all of you. I do understand how you feel because I was there for many years, so I appreciate you. I believe in you, and I congratulate you for every step of the way on your journey towards financial independence. Because I truly believe in the bottom of my heart that life is not all about work. I don't know if I've ever said that on my channel before, but I'll say it now. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, we live in a society where we do have to work for money. For what used to be paper money, and we just don't think that way anymore, do we? When is the last time you really sat down and thought about the value of $1 or $20? It just doesn't happen. And so I do believe that most of our life, of course, as adults, due to the fact that we live in this type of a society. And by the way, in the last episode I talked about civilizations before us that also had to work for some type of money. And even before that, it was things like bartering. There's a book, what's it called? It's a financial book where it teaches people, and I can't believe I'm screwing this up because I didn't know I was going to talk about it. Babylon. Oh my gosh, what is it? Somebody put it in the comments, or maybe I'll put that in there after I produce this episode. The Richest Man in Babylon. Yeah, that's what it was. Back in those days, people were learning about the barter system. I will do something for you, you do something for me, and we all specialize in something. And collectively together we come together towards a common goal, and that is how communities and societies were formed many, many civilizations ago. things, then to repair things like that take a lot more money. Does that make sense? Okay. So, keeping things simple and having a simple path to wealth is personally what I chose and what I hope I will encourage all of you to do as well. And so, getting back to the concept of today's episode 64, The Sound of Paper Money, I wanted to talk through the envelope system. Now, obviously, this is not something that I created. I think, if memory serves me correctly, it's probably a Dave Ramsey principle. And I do believe it helps people, again, that are learning the basics of personal finance and learning to value money. Right? I've got $80 in my hand right now. And, of course, on Friday I'll talk a little bit more about, you know what? I didn't talk about my past money mistakes, so I'm going to do that now and weave it into this episode as well. But I don't think back in my 20s, as you guys know, because I had a personal bankruptcy at age 29, I did not value paper money. I don't think I did. I was just clueless, as many kids are, you know, and I say kid, I was 25 years old. I should have known better, but I didn't. And so, my past money mistakes obviously were pretty substantial. I had a lot of debt, putting it on credit cards, because if I had really understood how money works, I would not have put all of that on my credit card and bought things that really had no value whatsoever. So I was a financial train wreck, as you guys know. Now, if I had enough insight back when I was in my 20s, like maybe some of you are right now, my financial children, I would encourage you, and I would have told myself if I knew about this, but I didn't, I would have come up with a way to become interested in how money works, to then teach myself how to get ahead. It didn't happen until much later, so I'm here to help encourage you now to hopefully hit that financial bottom where you guys wake up, as you know. And for some of you, it may be that you're still building your budget, you're getting your finances in order. Maybe you're like me when you were 25 years old and you were still struggling with your career. I struggled until I was 37. Yeah. All of my 20s, I just didn't know what I wanted to do. I had job after job. I would get laid off. I had part-time jobs that I don't know if I ever told you this. I had a part-time job at a pawn shop. I was in their management training program, and they fired me. I said, thank you. I don't know that I'm pawn shop material, but thank you very much. And I left the building without even taking my lunch out of the lunchroom. But I remember being upset that I lost that job, and, you know, those feelings I had when I was younger, just awful. Terrible feelings. So I know, again, how you guys may be feeling if you are struggling to find a good career path or a good job, etc. You take the cash when you get paid, you go to the bank or credit union, you get the cash, and you put it in envelopes, and then you label the envelope rent, electric, etc. And you physically feel the money, you hear the money, you smell the money, and it teaches you to respect the money. Because if you don't respect the money for what it is, how can you learn to create a value journey for yourself? We'll talk more about that in a couple days. But the tangibility, is that a word? The tangibility of the money, it's tangible. You can feel it. You can hear it. It's in the envelope. You take it out and you pay the bill. That teaches you the value and the concepts behind money in and of itself. Just like, to anchor back to the richest man in Babylon that I talked about just a few minutes ago, we have to embrace money and understand money and how it works in order to then shift that, as I mentioned, into the value for us over time, and how money can definitely then get us to where we need to be. We do have to understand all of those basics. So if you are the type of person right now and you're struggling